It is time. Browns and Steelers kickoff, but it is after further review presented by our friends and partners at Going for Two. Uh, Boys, how we feeling today? I know that we've had a couple of down Sundays. Kaylin, I know you just had a down Monday.
Oh God.
Um, but we're gonna have a little bit of time to talk about that. But how we doing Thursday evening here? First day of fall, it feels like in Southern Ontario. Anyway.
Oh yeah, it was a cold one today, huh? Rick,
Yo,
Yeah,
you're not missing much over here, pal. It is cold and dewy, bro.
well, that's crazy too because you think it'd be the opposite here, but like we're going up to 27 tomorrow, so like it's amazing how big of a contrast it can be between the two provinces. But yeah, I guess fall as of today, so that means we're gonna get into the middle of the football schedule and get into some October in baseball, which is always exciting. So lots to cover today, and let's get her going.
yeah, this is my favorite time of the year. Like
Yeah.
late September, October, when you got football in full swing, you got college football in full swing. We got baseball playoffs coming, and hockey training camps are in. And I don't think anyone cares about the NBA, so we won't even worry about that.
Oh,
Right now.
you watch your mouth. And this is like the perfect matchup for me. Like we're talking about like this first day of fall feeling kind of thing. You guys can't see like the picture I got up right now where it's the Steelers versus the Browns. To me, those colors, bro, that is fall colors too, right? You got like the
Oh,
leaf
yeah,
turning and everything.
exactly.
This
Yeah.
just looks like the kickoff of fall. And this is when, you know, the football starts to get like the cold weather starts to affect the player. The hits start to get a little bit harder, right? Right. I know we're still only at the end of September here, right, guys? But it's right around the corner where third quarter, fourth quarter football feels a little bit different.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. And I'm looking forward to Thursday night. I'm looking forward to this Thursday night football match. We do have a comment from John Hudson, and we'll address it a little bit later. But his comment is it possible for the Raiders and the Titans to play each other and for them both to lose this week? And he says that he's asking for a friend. So he will. We we will.
It's funny. It's funny you can say that though, because I can't see them tying for some reason. You know, it's just which would pretty much be a loss for both of us. So.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I never
Yeah,
even,
like-
you know what? Like I've been so hell bent on somebody winning this game that I've never even thought about that. If this comes out as a tie, oh, this is going to be a rough 3 weeks of football for me, man.
Well,
Yeah, we'll
a
talk about
tie
that
would.
a bit, but we'll talk about your game first, obviously, Shane. And we're only 3 games in, but this game feels big already. You know, with both teams being 1-1. You know, everybody's pretty much got a chance in this division right out of the chute, anyways, because everybody's kind of faltered a little bit. So I feel like it's a big statement game for the Steelers to come out and get this one done.
Yeah, and they have to because they're in an interesting position. You know, last year at this time, nobody was calling for Mason Rudolph off the bench. Nobody wanted Josh Dobbs in the game. But because of the quarterback uncertainty and because of the way that Trubisky has played in the first 2 games, one of those being a win, I should say. But because of that, and I was in the camp of saying we will not see Kenny Pickett until next year. But I can assure you that unless he blows the doors off here at First Energy Stadium, Kenny Pickett is starting against the Jets. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why, and then we'll dig back into the game. Kenny Pickett is from New Jersey, and he went to Pittsburgh for college. So the only 2 cities that Kenny Pickett has lived in is New Jersey and Pittsburgh. And
Which are like an hour and a half away from each other.
yeah, but the Jets are based, but you know that's the New Jersey team. Like that, if you're in New Jersey, that's who you go for. You're not a Giants fan, you're a Jets fan. Wouldn't surprise me if this guy was a Jets fan at some point in his life. You know, maybe he liked Chad Pennington or something. But all of those factors lead me to believe that if Trubisky doesn't do enough to keep his job, this thing is over. And to be honest, if he stinks at halftime, we might see Kenny Pickett 2 gloves coming out at halftime and lighting the lamp here.
So now, here's what I got to ask though, right? Najee Harris, there was a lot that was expected of him coming into this season, right? He certainly hasn't produced himself either, right? Was this not expected though, that we were going to that they were going to be able to use Mitch to lean on Najee, create that run game, you know, the powerful downhill running attack, use that to go off the play action? Is it really Mitch's fault when the offense can't run the way that that they thought they were going to draw it up in the offseason when Najee just, I don't know, maybe it's the fracture still is dealing with it, but two rough weeks in a row. Well, the first week he didn't really play, right?
So he's just going through that like weird phase where, last year he got so many totes that he built up the yards. This year he was expecting come in bigger, stronger, faster. Obviously he had the hiccup in training camp, but NFL players in their second year, they come in like weird shape because they're rookie seasons. They're coming off of the combine, they're coming off of the Senior Bowl or whatever bowl game they had. So they're at their peak performance. This is their first real off season with no school, if we want to believe that guys from Alabama go to their classes, and no like structured workout other than what he's structuring for himself outside of like the limited team activities. So for a guy in the second year to come out in a slow start, and I'll reference Chase Claypool last year, who had an amazing rookie year. His second year, he just wasn't there. This year, it seems like he's back and he's got his head screwed back on straight. But I think that for Najee Harris, he just needs to realize that this isn't college anymore. You run your play. You don't just try and bounce everything to the outside. You don't try and just like,
trust
you're
the
not
hole,
gonna,
right? Trust the hole is going to be there. And if it's not, pound up the middle and make it happen, right?
Right. And what's been happening?
The back you are.
Yeah. Look at Jaylen Warren, and in limited action, undrafted free agent, he's been the more effective runner or more successful rundowns than Harris has because of all those factors. He's taking the ball, he's seeing the hole, and he's moving on with his day.
And you know what you do, like bringing up the whole transition on their second year, that makes a lot of sense. Their first year, the rookie year coming in, you're getting them like acclimated to like the training regimen and the eating plan and stuff. And then you have them play for a full season and you make a decision. Are we going to up this guy's weight? Are we going to down it? Are we going to get him lean? Are we going to put muscle on him? What's the idea? What do we want to do here? And yeah, that first few weeks, I'm sure there's going to be a bit of a transition period of him adjusting to whatever new body they've got for him. If in fact that's what happened, right?
Well, and I was watching Good Morning Football today, and they were talking about this pretty in depth. And they're saying like obviously his lack of touches, I believe, still has something to do with it as well. But as well, they're saying maybe the lack of touches are because he's not fully healthy. Who knows at this point? Because like it's weird that he's only had 20? Was it just over 20 touches in 2 games or something like that?
Well, yeah, the first game he touched nothing. He didn't have the ball at all, right? I think the second game he had like
10
18
times he rushed it.
Yeah, and then
he rushed it 10 times. Yeah.
Okay.
But either way, maybe there is some. But then they showed a couple runs from him where the mean stiff arm that he had on that one run ran the guy over. So they just showed flashes of looking healthy, but like I said, maybe they're just not trying to overwhelm him early. But I expect if they're going to win this game tonight, they better be running the ball because Cleveland's going to be running the damn ball.
What? Yeah, that's what I mean. Shane, you're coming in. You were mentioning you're coming in confident. I think you should come in confident to this game, even though Trubisky is not playing at his best, because you still have a defense that is firing on all cylinders. It doesn't matter, even with Watt missing there, right? So, how does the Browns beat the Steelers tonight if they can beat the Steelers? Pick apart your own team for me.
So I've been doing it for the last 2 weeks. It's not something that I usually did with Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
So I've had a unique challenge recently, picking apart the quarterback. They're going to lose if Trubisky doesn't try and throw the ball past 10 yards. They're definitely going to lose if the first time they get a first down on first down is in the third quarter, much like they just did against the Patriots. The get 3 yards, get 2 yards, try and break a tackle, try and dink and dunk, that's over. If you're not going to push the ball downfield to Claypool and Pickens and Deontay Johnson can get open downfield and Pat Freiermuth can come across the middle, that's how you open up the run game. And that is how the Steelers are effective. Without doing those things, I mean, yeah, it's Cleveland could score 17 points and win because that's literally what the Patriots just did.
Yeah.
And I see a stat right now, like I'm watching, and like right now, say the Browns lead the NFL by 135 yards on blowing coverages this year.
Wow.
So they have 214 passing yards allowed by blowing coverage, leads the NFL by 135. So if Mitch Trubisky is going to get it going against any secondary, it looks like this is the one to do it against.
Well, and you mentioned, Pickens, and he had a comment about how he's open 99% of the time here. Rookie making comments like that. I think there was there was a little bit more playfulness with it when he was saying it than I think that people are putting into the tweets right now. But with that being said, Trubisky does come out and says, I probably could throw it a little bit more to 14 because he is open. Do they go and attack at him right now? Do they start throwing are they going to do what we all expect the Jets to do with Garrett Wilson and just feed this guy the ball because he's athletic as hell? And, Claypool is very, very talented. We saw what he can do in short space. Pickens can do a lot more, right? And that's scary to think.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what they need to do. And that's how the team is going to be successful. And that's what, coming into the season, I said, I think that this is it's not a Super Bowl team, but it's a playoff team because of all those things. And because I thought that Mitch Trubisky had 20/20 vision, apparently he doesn't. And he can't see past 10 yards down the field. So
he still has a problem throwing left, eh?
Yeah. He's got that tick mark on his driver's license that he can't drive without glasses because he can't see the stop sign.
All of those.
Yeah, look, I mean, put your contacts in, put your glasses in, take your head up. You're fine running the ball. You're fine to make the small intermediate plays, but I don't know. Look, 2 touchdowns in 2 games is that's not the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Mm-hmm. If you can't run the ball and you can't throw the ball, Boswell can't do it all, right? And that's what they need to do. The best way to loosen up the defense, to open up the run game on a mediocre offensive line is to throw the ball downfield so that your safeties have to stay back, your linebackers have to take another step back, and that's going to equal a couple more yards for every run play that you have.
And where's this game? Is it in Pittsburgh?
No, it's in Cleveland.
So I'm going to come back to, I think that you guys have such an upper hand here. I don't know if you saw what happened after the Jets game or after their touchdown scored with 25 seconds left and the fan that tossed a water bottle at the owner at Haslam on his way up the tunnel. The guy's been charged with assault and banned for life and all that jazz. But,
of course. I
mean, this is, a meltdown of epic proportions again in that Browns game against the Jets where they get the touchdown and the fans are so fed up that they're throwing water bottles at the owner. Like, I know it's Cleveland, and I know that, they don't have the cleanest fan base down there, but that's pretty intense. And this is where I think, their backs are really up against the wall at this point. Not just the negative media they had coming into this season with what they did with Watson and everything, but now, I mean, that blown loss against the Jets, and they're in week 2, and they're throwing water bottles at the owner?
Right, and the Jets thing is a fluke, and, if there's any kind of carryover, the only carryover I see is negative carryover. And, Rick, we played baseball together. We've all played sports together. The second that you get too tense, you're gripping the bat too tight, or if you're pitching, you're holding the ball too much and you're making another mistake. And because of that, that is leading to why I feel confident about tonight. And you know what? The Cleveland fan base deserves better than what they get. And they gave away 3 first-round picks and $250 million to watch Jacoby Brissett in week 2 blow a lead to the Jets, and then have the ability to drive it downfield, only to be intercepted by the Jets. And are the Jets from last year? No, but
they're still the Jets.
Yeah. Should the Jets are also not the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl that can make stuff like that happen, and for some reason pick up an onside kick and just the whole thing's absurd. Garrett Wilson's awesome, but the whole thing's absurd.
The throw to Corey Davis is just totally inexcusable. There's just no reason why that should ever happen at that point in the game. That's the thing when you get from both these teams. They both suck. They always will suck. And they'll continue to suck. So
listen, I jumped on the New York bandwagon last year with the Giants, and I hopped off of that, unfortunately, on week 8. I am all in. I don't normally cheer for another AFC team. I think it's just because Corey Davis is there. He's a former Titan, but I do just really like the Jets. I don't know.
You guys could use him right now, eh?
Yeah, we really could. We really could. So I guess that leads us into...
Kaylin's just a glutton for punishment, eh?
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to cover on this Thursday game at all, Shane? Oh,
no,
I didn't want to ask you.
You got any props going on, Shane, or what?
Yeah, so I'm all over the George Pickens anytime touchdown because I think that's got to be an easy one.
Yeah, they're forced that to happen.
Also, Jacoby Brissett over 179 yards passing seems pretty low. Naturally, I think that the Steelers are going to try and force them into passing situations, even to the point that it might be annoying the first couple of drives where everybody's wide open because they're only dropping 3 into coverage. So I
Yep.
think that he's going to eat up a lot of yards. And then what was the other one? Cam Hayward over 0.75 sacks. He played like absolute dog shit against the Patriots. They boxed him up, bottled him up. I think this is like a Cam Hayward like 2-sack game. And he might even have like an interception. He doesn't have back-to-back bad games. The guy's been the defensive captain there for 11 years. And there's I can assure you he's getting 1 sack, but this might be like a Cam Hayward like no, hold the mic kind of thing.
Wait, he doesn't
And
have
I like
in divisions at all.
I like Brissett going over an interception as well. So
Yeah.
but I like Nick Chubb to get in the end zone. I feel like that's just a safe bet all the time with him. And I like Amari Cooper. I think he's what is he got, like 50 yards maybe on the over on that. So I like that one as well.
That's actually that's where I was going to bring up. I did want to ask you before we get out of here now, because out of the division anyway, is this is a good receiver. He's a great route runner. He's got chemistry here with Jacoby Brissett. I can only assume that chemistry is going to be easily attained when he gets to playing with Deshaun Watson. The guy can pretty much catch a ball from anybody, right? That's a good receiver in your division. I mean, he's got a couple years left. The Browns got like the most cap room over the next 3 years or something like that, somehow, some way. You think he sticks around? And if he does, is this a guy that you're scared of in your division? Has this become one of those, or is this just simply one of those? He's going to end up being Josh Gordon in Cleveland, or he's going to be was Josh Gordon Derek Anderson's hookup? Was that his? I can't even remember.
No, I think it was Baker.
Braylon Edwards. Braylon Edwards, that's who it was, right? Yeah, Braylon.
Yeah.
So like one of those guys that just have a flash in the pan. Not Amari's not going to have a flash in the pan, but I'm just talking about careers go to Cleveland to die. Is that going to happen to Amari?
Yeah. So, and this is going to be the hot take on Amari Cooper, and then we'll get into the Titans and the Raiders. But I don't think that Amari Cooper is any better than Brandon Cooks, and he's probably as good of a teammate because this guy just gets shipped out of town. He's been bounced around. There's a reason that you send guys out of town. Look at the Cowboys receiving room right now. You think that they couldn't use him over that 5th round pick that they got? There's more to the story than we didn't want to pay the guy the money.
$20 million in cap. They just couldn't take that. There's got to be more to it, right?
Exactly. And there's just no way that people like this guy in the locker room. So I hope for his sake that his wife isn't a massage therapist, because then him and Deshaun Watson are not going to get along well. But whatever he needs to do, if he can get his fresh start in Cleveland. But tell me any player that comes to mind that got a fresh start in Cleveland and did a great job with it.
Can't think of it, man.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt is the closest.
Yeah.
And like they wouldn't even trade him. But yeah, like that's it.
He was still in his prime, like fucking 2 years in. So it's not like he went there because he needed redemption career-wise. It was because he, had
because he's a dickhead.
Yeah, but there's not a lot of people that go there to redeem themselves. That's for sure. Ask Johnny Manziel.
Right. All right, so we were mentioning redemption, and Shane talked about how we're going to talk, about the Raiders and the Titans game upcoming here, and there's 2 teams here that really do have to redeem themselves. We had a heartbreaking loss. When I say we, the Titans on week 1, week 2 we got our absolute asses kicked. You, sir, had that heartbreaking loss in week 2, and I know you've mentioned it. You've had a couple of chances to talk about it. But what about that catch, Rick, to AJ Green?
It's just this day and age, It's like I just don't get it. Like if you're gonna have replay, then fucking do have replay. Like what's the point of reviewing a catch that clearly isn't a catch and still calling it a catch? Like we didn't deserve to win the game. The way we played in the second half was just pitiful. Mm-hmm. But all that aside, that was of course it's AJ Green. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, when it happened, I was like, I didn't even want to text you. I'm going to be like, he's still got it.
I wasn't worried at all. I was not worried. I was like, I see the replay like 3-4 times. Yeah. I'm not even worried. I'm like, that's not a catch. Oh, it's upheld. I was like, what are you guys smoking? Because like, seriously, like you can see the ball move. Like when we were younger, we were in high school and that shit, like something like that was reviewed and the ball was moving at all. Instant no catch. Like I get this new rule where if the ball's moving, but the guy has his hands under it and whatever, all this cabbage they come out with every year, trying to, make the rule better, but all they do is make it worse.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous because this one, the ball is moving, his hands aren't under it, and it's on the ground. Oh, touchdown. And then Kyler Murray does his best Michael Vick impression. of Kirk and Madden when we used to play back in the day, run around for 10 minutes and then somehow get into the end zone.
Yeah.
Like, we're just destined. And then Hunter Renfrow fumbled like once all last year, and the guy fumbles twice in 2 plays in overtime. It's like, it's almost like they still hate John Gruden so much that the NFL is just gonna be like, "Fuck you guys! You guys aren't winning shit."
Well,
and that's the way it feels.
I brought it up, and you said he was fine, but he is in concussion protocol, Renfrow. So that could be a big news. I don't know if he practiced today or not, but yesterday he did not. So that could be big news for you guys. Not if you don't have him to travel with you.
Well, we've thrown the ball to him like 3 times, so it should be all right.
Not that it really has mattered so far because Devontae's just getting all the balls, right?
But that's the problem. They came out and said that they're not getting the ball enough to him, and I was like, well, we gave it to him a whole bunch the first game. Second game, he only got 4 targets, but Derek Carr needs to get his head out of his ass, man, because he's looking real bad.
It's a big game, and John Hudson's talking about a big game that we all played in high school against CCH. And he's talking about the game that we lost 72-0.
I was a junior. I watched you guys do that. We lost 44-0 though, so
yeah. So collectively, the Wildcats did not have a great day, but we all lived to see it. So I could tell you the fastest kid that I've ever played against was in that game, and he got a pitch, and I thought that I was in front of him, and then I looked back and he was in the end zone. I was like, oh shit, these guys are way better than us.
That was my first game playing center ever.
Yeah.
And it was pouring rain. The ball was covered in mud. I think I fumbled the snap like 6 times in that game. I was ready to just cry and crawl into a hole. I never wanted to play center ever again after that game.
Yeah,
that was also the game that Steve Clement was wide open for a touchdown. The ball hit him in the mask and dropped it with like nobody around him for like 30 yards. So,
do you remember well, you would have been watching ours, Rick, but
I watched half your game.
The opening play, I almost picked off for a touchdown. And then after that, it was all downhill for like the entire, like it hit my shoulder pad or something and like flew off. And like after that, it was like, nah, this one's not gonna happen. But yeah, Raiders and Titans. Before we go completely off the rails there, it's an interesting game because on paper, this looks like it's a rinse job for the Raiders, right? Like if you look at the way that the two teams have played in the 2 games, but there's just no way that I can envision Mike Vrabel getting throated 2 weeks in a row. There's no way.
Yeah, he doesn't usually usually does well, after coming off of a pretty big loss. And, he does have a lot to prove here. The OC, as I mentioned to you, I don't know if you even watched the game, Shane, or if you turned it off after the first 25 minutes, but the OC's boring as hell. I mean, we're doing nothing that is creative. Everything it's either run, button hook, or run, slant. I mean, what we got the highest graded. I talk about PFF. We got the highest graded wide receiver rookie right now in Treylon Burks. He's actually playing well when he gets the ball in his hands, and we have him out there for 10 snaps. This guy's going to the Kyle Phillips, who I actually do love. He's muffed 2 pumps. I really do like him though. Treylon Burks goes to the special teams coach today and says he wants to return punts. This guy just wants to play. It's like it's classic Titans ball. We don't play the guy that seems to be better every single time. I don't understand why Jeff Swaim is on the field more than Austin Hooper. I don't care that he's the better blocking tight end, Vrabel. Please just get the player on the field that's going to run a better route than Jeff Swaim, right?
Right, and yeah, I watched that whole game.
What's
just
that?
like Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. No.
Yeah.
Let me describe to you who was on the field in a 5 wide receiver set or 5 receiver set. You had Troy Carter, the fullback, Derrick Henry, Cody Hollister, Mason Kinsey, and on the outside was Jeff Swaim, was the tight end. This is who they lined up as five receivers. And I can't fault Tannehill for half of the throws that he did during that game because he didn't have anybody in the field that had any kind of talent. Like it was so poorly coached and so poorly scripted. So yeah, we got a lot to make up. I mentioned
breathe.
I do have to breathe. Now
that's okay.
It's going to make it a little bit more sentimental this weekend because it's your favorite team, my favorite team here.
It is.
Somebody's going to come out with a win, and I don't envision it a game where one team is going to take off on the other one. I still think it's going to be a close game, but it's like, what is it, like 18% of the teams or 11% of the teams that have started 0-2 have
11%
have made the playoffs. I don't know what the number is for 0-3, but I'm sure it's a hell of a lot less than 11, and there's not many numbers left. So it's going to be, and you in the AFC West, right? I mean, that's a really, really tough to start 0-3.
we talked about before the show, though, like watch it end up in a tie and watch us both just, crying afterwards because we both just can't get a win. Because, I expected us when this game came on the schedule, I expected to be 1-1. I really did. I wasn't expecting to beat the Chargers week 1, especially after not playing all preseason. I sure as hell expected you guys to be 1-1, playing the Giants.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty depressing. I said before this, I was the most excited I've been for a Raiders season since high school, and this is how it starts. 0-2, up 20-0 at halftime. Think you have it in the bag, and do everything possible to lose the game. It's really upsetting. But like you said, I'm thrilled that even being a nice guy here, I'm thrilled that no matter what, at least one of us is coming away with a win this week.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
now, how funny though would it be if we did come away with a tie though? Because the Colts have a tie in the division too, and right now it's like one of those games where they have a game that doesn't matter, right? They can make it in over us because of that tie. How annoying is that? But if we get the tie, then somehow we can still make it in.
Shane knows all about that, don't you, Shane?
Like, that's what Shane does know about that, and he also knows about having a winning season because of the tie. Jackass. Yep. Now, during that Buffalo game, Taylor Lewan went down. People harp on the guy for being injured, not playing a full season since 2017. They mentioned that during the broadcast 3 times. Surprisingly, I still think he's a top 5 to top 7 left tackle in the league. He's walking without a brace. He's down in LA, flew out of Nashville yesterday or last night. Somebody saw him flying out, so probably going to get a second opinion. That being said, people have walked on ACLs that are busted and look normal. It's different when you're trying to get into football shape.
Oh yeah,
he's going to be out even if it's a sprain. He's out at the minimum 5 to 7 weeks as a big boy like that. So that's not going to help us. Now, Rick, you mentioned when we talked about this game last night together that you think that we're going to have the ability to kind of run it down your throat. That's what you think, that Derrick Henry's going to maybe have a bit of a coming out party here, even with Lewan not being in the game. You still think that there's ability for this?
I'm really worried about it because like the Raiders just historically forever now have just had terrible run defense, and Derrick Henry's been bottled up 2 weeks in a row now, and clearly frustrated, ready to run wild on somebody. And who better than like one of the worst rush defenses in the league time and time again. I really hope that even if he does have a good game, that, our passing offense is enough to beat you, because it should be. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I gotta rip one of my own guys here, like I talked to you about last night. Like, where the hell is Chandler Jones? Like, what is this guy doing? Yeah. And where is he? Like, I hear his name mentioned like twice a fucking game. He's making all this money. He's gotten like 1 quarterback pressure in 2 games. He's never in the backfield. And I said to you last night, I feel like he's getting lost between playing linebacker and playing end. Mm-hmm. He doesn't know whether he wants to go. He doesn't know whether he wants to play coverage. And it's like, pin your ears back and go get the quarterback. Like, that's what you're paid to do. You're not paid to sit there in coverage and try to make a play in the secondary, or that's what I feel he's doing. And because of it, Max Crosby's playing all right, but this was supposed to be a 1-2 punch, and I feel like it's a 1 punch right now because Chandler Jones, like I said, just isn't doing anything. So hopefully this is a game where he does come out, because we're going to need him against Derrick Henry. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, he did have 10.5 sacks last season, so he's still pretty decent in the sack route. But that being said, he had 5-1 game. 5-1 game. He had 5-1 game against a still injured Lewan, blown ACL coming off the surgery. So he had 5 for the rest of the season. I mean, that's kind of. But you don't have to have sacks all. You don't have to have sacks to be effective. You're right. And especially if you have somebody like the motor of Max Crosby on the opposite end of the line, right? I mean, that you should just get the pressure.
You just need someone to rush. You need someone that can rush the throws. Yeah. Right? Like that's what he's supposed to be. The main, like the most elite pass rushers in the league. It's not like they're getting a sack every time. I mean, realistically, you're getting 1 a game, maybe 2 a game if you're doing it on average. But
nobody gets 30 sacks.
Yeah.
So.
They get in the quarterback's head, and you start to see that guy in your face a little bit, and then you start to rush your throws, and then the secondary can make the plays. And that's, again, like, I don't know if, like, Kaylin's going to disagree, but I'm going to say that it's more likely that the Raiders secondary eats this week than the Titans. And
our secondary has played great, for the most part. Our secondary has looked pretty good, but the pass rush hasn't been there at all. And that's what they said. When is the Raiders pass rush going to arrive? Because we have enough weapons there to do it, and it just hasn't happened yet. And, maybe we need to promote Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator, instead of defensive consultant, and get that long-haired, dirty bastard back out there and get him after the quarterback. Because,
Yeah.
whatever our defensive coordinator is calling right now is not working when it comes to pass rush. So I just hope
Nah,
we get a good game. It's fun to play each other. Usually it happens every couple of years. We get to play each other. I remember back with Sean. I remember watching the game the year after we won the Super Bowl, or went to the Super Bowl, got our ass kicked. We looked really good against you guys week 1, and then Derek Brooks broke Derek Richcannon's neck the next game, and that was over. But
yeah, I would say
I thought there was
I'll just
be...
roll with whoever the home team is. Whoever the home team is I'll roll with them.
So that's a tough. Yeah. All right. So I really thought there was going to be, a long time there when you guys had Derek Carr and we had Mariota, and there was going to be this, generation versus generation for a while. And unfortunately, that didn't pan out for us. Derek Carr did stick around, and he's got his best friend down there in Vegas with him now, so he's happy about that, right? Now
he needs to wake up.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. You talk about Russian throws and stuff like that. What is going on? Because what I read was that in Josh McDaniels' offense, everything is what's the word I'm looking for? Predicted on where it's going to go. Like he says where the ball, where everybody has to be, where the ball is going to go. There's only 2 really reads on almost every play, and then you kind of break it down and play backyard ball after that. So that's not what I'm reading. That's not his style. So this is not what he's used to, and he had the whole offseason still to kind of get used to it. What's going on? Can he straighten this out, or you think him and Devontae is going to start playing backyard ball no matter what?
We're not running the ball either. We're 30th in the league in rushing right now, and we have guys that can run the ball.
Football at all, right? Like power rushing, play off the play action, single back, I form, that kind of play is what he likes to use, right?
Yeah, the Patriots have always ran the ball still. Even though they had Tom, they usually had 3 guys that were getting the ball in the game. And right now, Josh Jacobs hasn't looked the best, but he hasn't looked bad either. When he's ran the ball, he shows the jump. He's finding the holes, but we're not sticking to the run at all. Darren Waller's not getting enough targets. I already talked about Renfro not getting enough targets. I don't know. It's just Derek Carr just looks so bad right now, and it's maybe because he has his hair looking like Marv from Home Alone. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's with every Raiders loss, he looks more and more like Marv from Home Alone. So I don't know. Maybe he needs to cut his hair and get back to what he knows how to do, because he's a good quarterback. Yeah. And he usually does make quicker decisions, and he's holding the ball too long. And I don't know, man. It's really disappointing, but I think he can turn it around. I do believe he can turn it around. It starts this week against you guys. And
come on. We finally have a healthy secondary for this game. You guys really coming at me, eh? Now, that being said, guys, I must say, Caleb Farley looked absolutely horrendous in that Buffalo game. He got thrown to the Wolves having to cover Diggs. He had that drag touchdown that was man coverage that he completely let happen, and he didn't see the field until the backups came in the fourth quarter, even after we waved the white flag in the third. So I don't know how much playing time he's going to see, but he has got a lot of making up to do for a first-round pick. I know that he only played 1 year in college as an actual corner. He was a wide receiver before that, but he's 6'2". He runs a 4.2, 4.40. This guy's got to use his athletic ability to his benefit rather than just being to his detriment. Seems he tries to lean on it too much. So maybe, I hope he doesn't get squared up. I hope it's Christian Fulton versus your boy. So, all right.
Well, let's cover a few other games here before we move on to another sport.
So we were talking about there's some great games, and one you really wanted to cover, and I mean, coming off their big win, of course, both of them come from behind for the Dolphins, and then the absolutely ass kicking that the Bills gave to us. What are your thoughts in this game, Rick? Is this your primetime matchup? Is this one you're going to watch? Make sure to watch and on the big screen?
I wish we could ask Richard what he thought right now of the Dolphins. That's what I would say, because, man, Tua's taking a lot of heat. He was probably this close to getting pulled. If it wasn't Mike McDaniel in there, he probably does get pulled in that game. This guy showed confidence in him. He stuck with him, and the guy just goes off and blew one of my tickets, which was really a big piss off. But other than that, they asked a good question recently. Who are you more impressed with at this point, whether it was Tua or Jalen Hurts? Just because there's 2 guys that taking a lot of heat, and 2 guys that are performing quite well through 2 weeks when it comes to putting up stats and whatnot. So yeah, the Bills. What can you say about them? I really hope Miami could somehow cause some noise in this game and take out the Bills, but I highly doubt.
Yeah, I would say the safe bet in this is to probably pick the over, because I think that both offenses are going to move the ball. It will be interesting to see how Tua does against those pass rushers, because they're like 6 deep, and if you can rotate guys in, that is kind of where he started to shine because Baltimore's depth really isn't there. And as soon as the Baltimore pass rushers got tired, you give a little bit of time to get the ball to Waddle or Hill, or even I guess Gesicki to a certain extent, who got in the end zone. It's going to be a big deal, and for the Ravens, you know what, like tough loss, tough one to eat.
Well, Lamar played amazing too, so that was a
Yeah.
real tough loss for him to take on that one.
Well,
Yeah, and this just leads me more to believe.
Did you like the Gesicki gritty or what?
It was tough. It was tough to watch, but this leads more.
He thought he looked so much better in the mirror.
Yeah, this is just leading more and more to the Lamar Jackson to Tampa Bay.
Oh God,
Jesus!
Here we go with that, eh?
This is what I'm on. I'm telling you, Lamar Jackson is going to be the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year.
You heard it here.
I've heard rumbles about it, and it works perfectly too. Like, God, if he went there with that offense around him, like the guy really performed last week, and he has nothing to do with that loss. So you know, it's really shitty for him. I think when they said he's now past Michael Vick for most 300 yards passing and 100 yards rushing in a game or something like that, and he's done it in like 3 years. So. Yeah, it's pretty disappointing to lose that game, but at the same time, amazing to watch Miami do it. You know, I kept seeing them, every highlight just kept coming up. I thought they were going to be duplicates, and it was just like, holy shit, like, what's going on here? But, you know, Buffalo, you know, Kaylin, tell you firsthand how Buffalo looks.
Now that being said, though, they're coming into this game missing some players, guys, right? They still don't have Tre'Davious White. It's a big hit for their secondary, who's going to be covering either Waddle or Hill. They lost Dane Jackson to that neck injury, was taken off in an ambulance.
Oh my God, that was awful.
Absolutely
I thought that guy was dead.
Injury. I can't believe that he was able to walk even after. That's insane. They had their center, number 60. I can't remember who it was, but one of their most veteran offensive linemen. He went down and is not playing this week. Bobby Hart, I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but he took a swing at Jeff Simmons after the game and inadvertently punched Mike Vrabel in the head. So he got suspended for the game as well. So they got, 2 offensive linemen. They're down. They're down now 2 other starting corners, and Michael Pointer is looking like he's not going to be playing either. He's day to day, and even if he does play, he's certainly not going to be at his tip top shape. So Miami comes in certainly the healthier team. I don't know where this game is. It is in Buffalo, I'm pretty sure, isn't it?
I believe it's in Buffalo.
Yeah. So they're coming in the healthier team anyway.
I'll check it.
It's a scary thought to say that Buffalo is the downside or the down underdog in this game, but I really do think just because of health, that's why they are the under.
It's in Miami.
It is in
Miami. That makes it even tougher.
So that even
we
tougher.
Know that's going to be hot as hell there, and they're going to have the dark jerseys on Buffalo there on top of the injury. So hey, if there's anything a game that lines up for Miami to take this, it's probably this one. But let's not count out the one guy that isn't hurt, and that's Josh Allen.
It's an interesting line sitting out 5.5 is pretty interesting for a road team after like how good Miami's been. But we'll just have to put our memories back in for the kickoff of the season. And that was a pretty good Rams team that looked pretty bad against the Bills. So we'll get
Stephon Diggs and Allen seem like they've gone to another level together. Like I was down in fantasy 15 points this week going into Monday night, and Mitch had Jefferson and Miles Sanders, and all I had was Diggs. And I end up winning, and he goes off for 50 points. Like they seem like they got a really good thing going there.
Yeah.
And right now, it looks like those are the only 2 guys that need to be healthy right now for Buffalo by the looks of it. So,
well, how about there's another team out there that's struggling, and we'll switch to the Bengals and the Jets. So, I don't know if it was more shocking that Cleveland blew their lead, or somehow Cincinnati went on the road and lost to Cooper Rush. But I kind of sounded these alarm bells back in like June on the Bengals and how we needed to pump our brakes because of all the one score games that they won and the come from behind wins and coming off of a Super Bowl hangover. This Jets game seems pretty important, and for some reason the sports books are still backing them, and they're giving 6.5 points to the Bengals on the road against this Jets team coming off of probably the biggest win in, I don't know, the last 5 years since Mark Sanchez was there and had him in the playoffs.
And what's crazy with the Bengals is that they had, he was sacked 95 times last year. They go in the offseason, they go and retool the offensive line, and he's on pace now to be sacked 115 times this year. So, I mean, like, it doesn't get any better. And that's not just the offensive line is playing poor. Burrow
he's playing back.
He's holding the ball forever, man.
Yeah.
He's holding the ball back like we did back in backyard football playing Smash Mouth, where I just sat there and somebody had to call time on me. That's what I feel like he's doing. Somebody's got to tell him time. Throw the friggin' ball, man. You have the receivers. You have the offensive weapons that are out there that you can get the ball out of your hands and let the players make a play like you did in the playoffs, like you did leading into the playoffs where you were able to win games from behind. I don't know what he's doing, man. And then again, he sits at his locker for 40 minutes after in a daze. You need to start meditation during the week, brother, not after the game.
Well, hey, you got to look too, though. Joe Mixon is averaging 3 yards a carry right now. Eddie George material.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, when it comes down to it, holding the ball also goes along with when you're not confident to ever hand the ball off. I'm not saying it's Joe Mixon's fault, but all comes back to the offensive line. It is playing god awful, and so it's interesting to watch because towards the end of that year they looked amazing every time. Like in those playoff games, the offense looked so well oiled. And now they look so confused. Mm-hmm. It's weird how things can change so quickly in sports. But I do fully expect Joe Burrow to bounce back in this game and take down the Jets.
We said the same thing against the Cowboys, so I'm interested. I'm interested to see because I'm not sure that the problems are just as simple as Joe Burrow needs to turn it on because he has turned it on at points. I don't think that the receivers are getting as open, and that's probably why he's holding onto the ball a little bit longer. We do have to remember that Joe Burrow was an Ohio State quarterback, and if you can name me another Ohio State quarterback that actually worked out in the NFL, I'll send you an e-transfer right now.
Yeah, Troy Smith's the only one that ever comes to mind, and that was still a iffy career. But
yeah, exactly. Craig Kimbrell and Justin Fields, who
about that one guy that got drafted like first overall? It was something like Jason Smith or something Smith. I forget who he was, but he was a white guy that was drafted really, really high. He didn't even lose in college or something like that, and then he didn't even end up starting a game like ever in the NFL or something. I forget who it was, but
is that Jamarcus Russell?
No, that's LSU. No, that's the mustard tagger, bud.
Yeah, we don't want to be mad. I don't want to get you mad. All right. Well, there isn't a ton to break down in that one. But for the last time.
Except for Garrett Wilson. I'm excited to see if they continue to throw him the rock and see what he can do with it. But of course, because I got him on fantasy, I outbid you, Shane. Thank you for that.
You went big for him.
What's crazy is I put 30 on. I would have won with that, but something in my gut was like, I'm gonna add to put 40 for some reason. I don't know. I don't care. At the end of the year, I always said to Rick, I always end up with like $60 sitting in free agency money. So
might as well use it, yeah.
Whatever. Might as well use it now when you can, right? All right. So that leads us into the next game, and I didn't just put this one on here just because Josh the intern he's loving the Detroit Lions, and then they're talk of the town right now. But I really do think that this Lions and Vikings game is going to be a pretty good matchup. You got a Vikings team that did not look their best and got exposed against the run with Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia's a great running team. I don't want to make it sound like Minnesota was supposed to be.
No, but it was night and day.
Yeah,
from the first one.
It was crazy. So they're coming.
Well, it's Kirk Cousins on Monday night, baby. You're like, what else do you expect?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was rough.
So now he's playing a division game against a team that had a pretty good win against the Commanders. I don't care who the team is. Detroit finally getting a win there. Maybe they can start stacking some bricks and everything. But what do you guys see in this matchup? Is the Vikings going to get straight, or is the Lions going to start to roar a little louder?
I'm not sure that the Vikings have the guys to cover Justin Jefferson. I think what Philly did made a lot of sense.
You mean the Lions don't have the guys to cover Jefferson?
Yeah. Sorry. I don't see it. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson getting a couple sacks on the Commanders.
Well, he's not even practicing right now either.
Yeah.
Well, he probably thinks he's too good. I'm not. I still,